Let's get physical. It's Jordan here, back again with this week's update and all the physical releases coming to the Nintendo Switch, February the 24th until the 28th. Let's see what we've got this week. Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days Collection is a pretty interesting physical release for me. You know I don't like card games, but that's roguelike deck builders, alright? This is a surprisingly generous amount of Yu-Gi-Oh! That rocked people's socks in the early 2000s. I could never get into it, his hair was just too ridiculous and his voice was deeper than a sumo wrestler. My memory may have exaggerated that part, but I'm pretty sure it was deep. You get 14 games in total, one of which technically doesn't have English, but according to the wording from the PR, that game is entirely playable in the collection elsewhere. These are from the Game Boy Color and Advanced era, and I may just have to pick this up myself, even as a complete noob. I think it's great. And my executive producers, Issa, Dave Horworth, and my brand new executive, Surfacing for Air, have chosen this as their pick of the week. BAKERU is finally getting its physical release in the West, loving the fact that it's at retail as well. This is the perfect game for those who long for the era of those Goemon games on Nintendo 64. Very wacky, very Japanese, great 3D action platformers. It was a massively requested physical release even from its Japanese release when people were begging for it to be in English. I'm glad I held off the digital release because I'm not a big fan of being a double-dipping dingleberry, although I think with this one, I think we will have more than a few cases of triple-dipping dingbats. First the Japanese release, then the Western digital, and now the Western physical. Sometimes that's just how life is. And my executive producers, the Nemo 6 and Ghost Bune, have chosen this as their pick of the week. And if you want it or any of the retail games in this video, please consider purchasing via the links in the description and pinned comment. That massively helps support me, this channel, this series, to keep producing physical content for you guys. VGP are a fantastic company with cheap prices in Canadian money and free worldwide shipping on orders over 80 Canadian bucks, which is less than 60 American dollars. Plus, each week, if you buy something, you are put into a draw to have a chance of winning a $10 discount coupon. And this week's winner is, I don't know, because I'm running quite far behind on this project and I was a bit late to ask them who the winner is. So I'll let you know who the winner is next week. It's somebody though. Somebody's going to get a nice surprise email from VGP this week. And anyways, yeah, thank you so much for your support. Stories from Soul, the Gundog, should be releasing this week physically in Europe. That's despite a few people out there managing to pick it up a couple of weeks early. Again, this is a game I'm very interested in. Tell you what guys, this is a banging week so far, at least for me. This is an old school style adventure game, a bit like Snatcher, Police Nauts. Love the art style too. That is when anime was badass and not overly cutesy. It's also called Gundog, which is an extra point in its favor. For some reason, this Switch physical is only in Europe, where it's also on PlayStation 5. North America, I don't want to speculate negatively, but there is only a PlayStation 5 release in North America, and I wonder if they've gone for the limited publisher on Switch to maximize the profits. I mean, VGP aren't even carrying European Switch copies, so something fishy is going on. And my executive producers, Alexander Cato, Ishin, G Bautista 100, Louis K, and Jedi Crow have chosen this as their pick of the week. Omega 6 The Triangle Stars is actually quite a similar game. It's like two buses at once kind of scenario. This is a game based off the works of Takaya Imamura, who is famous as the art director for Star Fox and F-Zero. I've talked about this game a bit before when Limited Run put up their pre-orders for it not so long ago, and now this is the European retail release. Looks cool, a bit less than Gundog, but still cool. Hope it's actually good and well written. Metal Slug Tactics is hitting retail this week in Europe. Yes, here's another one Limited Run did in North America. I know this game was in development for absolutely years and people do like it, but there's just two things that I can't get over. One, it looks worse than the original Metal Slugs, which that was always a big selling point. And two, roguelike, doing runs. Kind of gives me the runs, you know what I mean? But that's just personal taste. There's been a lot of positivity about it, so I will leave you guys to be enjoying it. And my executive producers, Offbone, God of Resin, and Feig have chosen this as their pick of the week. Him, The Smile, and Bloom is releasing in Europe also this week, at least it should be. In North America, it's been pushed back to April. I think there's been an issue with the translation. Apparently it's fine, but missing the, the final polish, so to speak. This is an Otome VN that's a bit different with different protagonists. And yeah, I've talked about it plenty of times before because it was previously an import exclusive release. And my executive producers, Rose and Jennifer M, have chosen this as their pick of the week. Ravenswatch Legendary Edition, a quick mention to this since it is releasing in North America this week. This already released in Europe a few weeks ago, and my executive producer Super Ben Julio has chosen this as his pick of the week. Alright, let's jump into the low print, limited releases. There's quite a few this week. Cyber Shadow. Pretty big deal. It's Super Rare's latest game, and it might be one of their biggest in a long time. This is from Yacht Club Games, who are famous for the Shovel Knight series. Not developed by them, but published by them. And people have been asking for a physical of this for a long time, and Super Rare have stepped up to the plate. They have 8,000 copies available on the Nintendo Switch, spread out over 2 editions. Their standard edition and collector's edition, which I think should be enough to go around. Like 8,000 is a solid number. It'll be in demand, but it won't sell out in seconds. If you want a great retro style action game, then you'll probably want to be there on Thursday when pre-orders open. Some pretty great box art as well, and also it'll be on PlayStation 5. And my executive producers, Brotorius, Azrath, Dane Wilkinson, and Instacritic have chosen this as their pick of the week. Now, limited run games have gone a bit mental this week with 4 games in total, 3 distribution titles that will probably make their way to various retail stores, and 1 exclusive title. Sadly, as always, the exclusive one is the most interesting one for me. But the making of Karateka is going up for pre-order via limited run this week. I've got to be honest, the concept of this one is kind of going in one ear and out of the other. Is it a documentary more or a game more? It's a digital museum dedicated to one game that one bloke in Germany has fond memories of. Plus they had a bucket load of material to work with, diaries, prototypes, floppy disks, hard drives. Seems like the one and only case of when checking someone's hard drive, the ending is a happy one. It'll be on Switch and PlayStation 5, and my executive producer Wixit has chosen this as his pick of the week. Llamasoft, the Jeff Minter story, again with the compilation style template they set up with Atari 50, this is a celebration of an icon, the only man to make 40 critically acclaimed games, with most of them being the same kind of game, at least the ones I've played. This one's got some deep cuts, and the only requirement is that you take drugs prior to playing. As a straight edge board, this one's probably a bit lost on me, but it seems like a missed opportunity to have a collector's edition that comes with a tub of LSD. Instead, it comes with a bandana and some shades. What's that all about? This is on Switch and PlayStation 5. Tetris Forever is the 3rd game of theirs, and this is a great one. At least I assume it's great. I'm all about cool retro compilations, and how much cooler can you get than a Tetris collection? Sure, it's all Tetris, but sometimes that's all you need. Here you can get more Tetris than you will ever need, although something tells me that it won't have that badass mobile one I was rocking on my Sony Ericsson slide-up phone back in secondary school, back when phone games were actually interesting and you had to pay for them via your phone credit. Remember that? And my executive producers, Sora Cat, Jake Vav, and JCross7776 have chosen this as their pick of the week. Now it is worth mentioning that the 3 games I just talked about have already been announced that they will have a retail release in Europe. So if you're in Europe, just hold your horses, you'll get them easily and affordably pretty soon. Star Wars Jedi Power Battles is Limited Run's 4th and biggest release. Jedi Power Battles, a game I had as a kid on the Dreamcast, and I played it last year for my giant 12-hour Star Wars retrospective. Let's just say that at neither point between those 25 years of first playing it and then playing it again have I ever thought, this is a great game, because it's not. But at least it's quite, Star Warsy, a clunky, clumsy Star Warsy game, but Star Wars nonetheless. A weird beat 'em up set in Episode 1. You can pre-order this right now on Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox. If you want to see my thoughts, check out my other channel, Jordan's Retro Game Adventure. And my executive producer, Robotech, has chosen this as his pick of the week. Alright, let's jump into the imports. Links down below for these are for Play Asia, and if you click the link, you can get 5% off with the code Jordan2025. That also really massively supports me. Thank you so much. DreadOut Remastered Collection is maybe the biggest import this week for me personally. Here you get 2 horror games, one more of a survival horror, one more of a boss rush type spin-off game. The second game is a physical in the West, so it's entirely possible that this game or this collection will make it too, but I do think it's less likely. You get DreadOut Remastered and DreadOut Keepers of the Dark. Expect a bit of jank and less polished than an Outlaw's belt. Don't know what I'm saying, but this will have English if you want to import it, and my executive producer Punky Dooster has chosen this as his pick of the week. Everafter Falls is releasing in Asia this week with English. Japan is also getting a physical release, but that's not happening until a bit later on. This is a farming live sim that also has some dungeons to spice things up. It also has cards, because of course it does. There is no indication of this getting a Western physical release, which is odd considering the amount of shovelware much worse than this in the genre that do get a retail release in the West. So why not this one? This looks pretty good. Love Delivery and Love in Login is a double pack of visual novels, although as far as I'm aware, one is more like a bonus thing since it's really short. Neither of them have set the world alight in terms of reviews, but these are cultural visual novels, so quality isn't that important if one has a hot babe to look at. The physical release will have English and is coming in a standard edition as well as a collector's edition, which includes an acrylic standee, collector cards, beach towel, and how can one forget a 3D big booby mouse pad. I've bought one for every room in the house, and my executive producer Cartoon Soren has chosen this as his pick of the week. Wizardry, the 5 Ordeals, is releasing in Japan this week, and it feels weird that we've not heard anything about a Western physical. I thought for sure we'd have got wind from Clear River Games about their involvement in Europe and maybe limited run in North America, but maybe not though. This is a proper old school style first person dungeon crawling RPG, a remake of a Japanese spin-off game from 2006. Did I really say 2006? What am I coming to? It has a boatload of content, and from the reviews I've seen, it's good if you don't mind it lacking in modern sensibilities, which that's a plus point in my mind. This Japanese release does have English, and there's also a collector's edition which includes some DLC, soundtrack CD, acrylic stand, and some monster cards. And my executive producers Adamantium, Vey, and Josh Foote have chosen this as their pick of the week. The Medical Examination Diary, Teamwork in Paradise. Now, PlayAsia still have not stated that this has English, but it does. Alright, you can trust me. And you dirty buggers are going to be thankful. This was brought to my attention because normally when I see Entagram on the box, I don't even bother doing my usual research. I immediately assume it's Japanese only, but this one time, Busty Nurse Goggling Simulator, it will have English. It's practically a miracle. I don't know if this will set a precedence for the games to come, since I'm led to believe the game was already translated prior to Entagram getting their hands on it, but who knows? If it's successful and they see an increase in interest, maybe they'll take strides to give us more of the billions of VNs they release on a weekly basis in English. Now, all the super extra naughty stuff has been taken out for the Switch, but sometimes the tease is greater than the reward for some of you weirdos. This is coming in a standard edition, as well as a collector's edition, which includes 5 acrylic shikishi, 4 tapestries that will make your mum blush and your girlfriend leave you. You get a complete illustration book just for that extra material. You can pop that in the bathroom for, and you get a soundtrack and a drama CD, which will be in Japanese. And my executive producers, Kevin W. and These Nuts, have chosen this as their pick of the week. Japan is also getting these games, none of which have English. Let's jump into the community spotlight. Executive producer Cartoon Soren sent in this photo showing off the Coma 1 and 2 Deluxe Edition that was finally released from the shackles as an import exclusive. Yes, it got a release in Europe, although this was only on Game Fairy's website. And the only thing annoying about it is that it doesn't include the other Coma game, which has since come out. Missed opportunity. Juan Carlos showed much love for the Trail series, and I do wonder if these were from VGP, since they've been very good at reprinting or restocking like the entire series. Reg sent in this photo. Your first reaction does not deceive you. These are not official covers. I'm not sure Konami would approve of lesbian vampires and two-piece snack box stamped over where their name should be. Andrew R sent in this photo. 3 of them are now physical exclusives. Warlocks 2, Unto the End, and the G.I. Joe game have been deleted from the eShop, so if you want to play them, you can only get them via the physical release. Executive producer Super Ben Julio almost got a hat trick of perfectly themed games, but right at the end, Plucky Squire jumped in to be all cute and bubbly, spoiling the spooky mood, man. Executive producer D's Nuts also going nuts for the Trial series. Is this a coordinated attack on the Spotlight section? If so, I approve. Executive producer Rose sent in this photo picking up Knight vs. Giant, which I can very much imagine being an import exclusive that very few people will purchase. Nothing wrong with it, it just didn't make much of an impact upon release. Noble Panda sent in this photo. Alright guys, is someone at NIS America paying you for this Falcom loving? If so, please tell them to send me a check as well, okay? Executive producer Kevin W sent in this photo of a game from a sister series of sorts. At least that's how I see them. Still need to pick this one up one day. Stefan N sent in this photo of X Out Resurfaced, which I did talk about this collector's edition when it was on In Games' web store, but I was under the impression that there would be a standard edition at retail. However, that has yet to surface, shall we say. I don't know what's going on there. Lindsay S sent in this photo picking up a bunch of games for a variety of consoles. RZ was actually just announced to be getting a physical release at retail in Europe, which is nice. I didn't expect that. Pretty cool considering I'd call that game like a quintessential limited run release. Executive producer Precision Plague sent in this photo with a nice and early release of BAKERU and a cheeky release of Kingdom of Asdeburg. I can't remember if I actually talked about that or not because there's too much asking the Borg for me to keep up. Scumbag sent in this photo. Gotta love that time management box art. I literally think my daughter would put more effort into doing better artwork for it than Funbox did. You can really tell how a publisher doesn't give a monkeys about a certain product. Right here. Executive producer Adamantium sent in this photo, which includes Fitness Boxing Fist of the North Star, which I think proves that miracles do exist. Executive producer Ghost Bune sent in a couple of cultured imports in Bunny Garden and the recently reprinted Livestream 1. Both Play Asia and VGP are rocking fresh new copies of what was once a pretty rare game. Executive producer G Bautista 100 showed off a few tactical RPGs. So, Phantom Brave 2. It's been out a little bit now, a few weeks. What is the consensus on the Switch version? Is it playable, acceptable? Let me know. JRM sent in this photo and made people's wallets shrivel at the same time. I get it, it's niche, but it would be nice to have it more accessible for us peasants who don't have that much money. Executive producer Instacritic sent in this photo getting in a legendary banana-filled game. I am of course talking about Otoko Cross. Executive producer Vei, my man in Japan, sent in this photo picking up last week's main import exclusive in Night Slashers. I will give it credit, that logo is badass. The N, the S, it's perfect. In fact, it's so perfect, I'm convinced that they made the decision to remake the game based on the logo because it looks so good. Shiggy sent in this photo and bringing my attention to an import exclusive that I had not heard of before. Took a little bit of personal research, you know, I like to do my own research, I don't like the quick answer of asking people. But this game is called Fantastical Mystery Adventure Ultimate Jumbo Jet Murder Case. That's the full title. Look, the Japanese is really long. And it only released in Japan, and as far as I can see, only on one website. Maybe, I'm not entirely sure about that, but it does have English. So yeah, it's a pretty obscure import exclusive that has English. So if you're looking for a complete full English collection, well, you're gonna have to scramble for this one, guys. Executive producer Dave Horworth sent in this photo, picking up a bunch of games. I wonder if Fight Crab 2, will it ever come to the Switch? In fact, why is it not on the Switch already? Come on, Fight Crab 1, legendary. Fight Crab 2, that's gotta be even better, right? Alright, let's have a roundup. The 1. Choco Loco James, Evil McCloud, Wimpy, Devil Angel, Robert M, Habs, Lore San, McLaren, Needless Dragon, Remy X, Kresolak, Rainbow Pickle Gaming, Skip to the End, don't skip to the end, that's the name, Ashura G, Starvey. Alright, please send me your pictures. The information is on screen right now. Special thanks as always to my executive producers, Dane Wilkinson, God of Resin, Brent McLean, Alexander Cato, JCross7776, Punky Dooster, Cartoon Soren, Robotech, Raven Knight, Thorn Metal Luna, Issa, Vey, Offphone, Instacritic, Precision Plague, Alex M, Feig, Josh Foot, Ishin, Louis K, Kevin W, Jennifer M, Superman Julio, Double Dave, Hurstway and Horworth, Waksit, Sora Cat, The Nemo 6, Ghost Bune, G Bautista 100, Rose, Adamantium, Azrath, Jake Vav, Ethan Blue, D's Nuts, Jeddah Crow, Brotorius, and my brand new executive producer, Surfacing for Air. Thank you so much. Plus you watching right now, if you watched all the way through, you gotta leave me a drum emoji in honor of BAKERU and his little drumstick thingy bobs, okay? Please go check out some of my other videos. I've always got a lot of videos for you guys, and I greatly do appreciate the support. Subscribe if you've not subscribed already, okay? I want this channel to grow. I want 30,000 before the end of the year. Let's do it, okay? Take care.